What's good? Oh, shoot. What's good, party people? I'm LoneeAppleton. How come it didn't update my... No, that's not what I said. Reply is supposed to update my about section because I'm not reading the Bible. And I typed a whole bunch of shit and you didn't even take it? That's shady. Oh, shady. But I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, so maybe I didn't. Anyway, how y'all doing? I had to figure out this about section, but they disappeared, so I don't know where I'm typing. Hi, I'm LoneeAppleton, and I know shit. I am a healer. I help people answer. How do you spell elusive? Nope, that's how you spell it. Help people answer those elusive questions. Ask me. What's going on? I can't see. Oh, there we go. I hate how it just be putting crazy words. Said it could have been me with no something, no food to eat. Yeah. I've been listening to gospel music lately, y'all. That stuff be going off. Like, once you know God, like, some of that stuff is pandering. A lot of it is pandering, right? Hold up. I am a healer. I help people answer those elusive questions. Ooh, join the community. Hold up. Join because we are a community. It's like my classroom. I'm going to start teaching. I've been teaching, but I got to let y'all know I'm actually teaching you. So you actually pay attention. This is school. Every time you click on one of my videos, you're going to class. I'm sorry it deleted my about section, and y'all know I can't do too many regular tasks at once. Join the community and let's heal some pin. So I'm gonna say you'll need what would it mean? Hold up. You'll need pen and paper for this slide. Questions. Alright, so we will note. We're going to let me copy this. Select all, copy. Alright. Did I ask for support subscribers? I don't know what a subscriber is, but I'm gonna hit submit now. Your about me is submitted. Oh, it's under review. So is it while it's under review, the old one still shows? Anyway. How y'all doing? That took all of my mental capacity to type that little about section. I wanted to get on here, one, because I am finally, like when I used to pull cards, my angel cards, I never really figured out tarot. But when I used to pull my angel cards, Hold up, my stuff's not working. It always said I'd be a teacher, it said I'd be an author, it said I'd be all these things that I aspired to do, but I wasn't having any success doing. So I was just like, how are you sitting here telling me I'm supposed to be, a speaker? Not just a teacher, a speaker. And matter of fact, let me go get my cards. I bet you they're gonna say some stuff, but I've made meaning of it now. Hold on, let me go get my cards. I realized it could have been me. With no something. Yeah. It could have been me. All right, here we go. So these are Angel Tarot cards, Doreen Virtue. I thought I was doing something because it said tarot on there. I don't think these are comparable to tarot at all, but I think she threw that on there for marketing purposes. These are what I would refer to as angel cards. I don't really use... Now that I know how to use cards, I've always tried to use cards like other people use them, which, how they use them. God dang, the whole deck want to jump. I can't be all these apply to me, right? At any given time, all of these do apply, right? God's got to speak to you somehow, and if this is your chosen pathway, every single thing in there has to speak to you in some sort of way. When I first started being open, it could have been me. Jesus, I realized that it could have been me. When I started being open to relationship with higher power outside of what organized religion presented to me, I dove knee deep into the spiritual space to the point of which I was comfortable in doing, because my diving knee deep into the spiritual space this time looks very different than me diving knee deep into the spiritual space last time. The first time that I dove into the spiritual space, which would be the 2008 to 2013 era, it was the tarot cards, the crystals, all the things, all the spooky dooky things that you see that I presently have, the pendulum, the mala beads, all those different things come from my season of chasing modalities. Because when I left the church because the man of God, energetically slapped me in the face. And I held this man at such a high esteem that when he did what he did, known or unknown, we can't fault anyone for anything that they've done in our lives. We can't fault anyone for being who God called for them to be in our lives, right? Who is more powerful, your mama or God? And we have to ask ourselves, who's more powerful, your mama or God? Because while we're sitting here, or your dad, but I'm just going to say your mama because I feel like saying your mom, and if you can't translate so that it appeals and applies to you, then that's a limitation you need to work on. I shouldn't have to give a disclaimer or a caveat for everything that I say. The gift of having the will and free thinking is you're able to think beyond what someone says out of their mouth. Okay? So, who's more powerful? And some of you guys are going to say, my mama. But who's more powerful, your mother or God? And if you know that God is more powerful than human, then how can you resent any human for the role that they played in your evolution? not your life, your evolution. Because everything that has happened to you in your life has caused you to pivot. And God will make things so uncomfortable for you that you must pivot. And in that, because we are programmed to choose the lowest vibrational point, the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest option, I forgot my point. What was I talking about? When I come up with so many different ways to say something, I forget what I'm talking about. Because I don't have to, but I do. Because my audience is comprised of different levels of people on their journey, I have to use language interchangeably so that I can speak to all of you. So those of you who get offended because I use particular language, there's a particular demographic that I cannot speak. Excuse me, please stop. That I cannot speak and glorify God with. But they don't join the conversation in the energy of I'm glorifying God as well in my way. The energy on them is they're saying this is how we glorify God. So it's not we are just in communion, and this hasn't been everybody in this particular group, but I have encountered this with people in this particular group. And these individuals are very insistent on, if we are going to glorify God, this is how we glorify God. And it's with those particular individuals, it becomes uncomfortable for me because I'm like, I just want to talk about the goodness of the Lord. But you have been programmed to push a particular agenda. Can you truly say you're insistent that someone moves in God relationship the same way that you do is because you truly care about the outcome or the eternity of their soul? Can you say that you truly care about that? Every person that you have pushed this agenda on, because it is an agenda, can you say it's because I care about the eternal damnation of your soul? Or is it you are just so programmed to push an agenda my way? This is what I believe to be true, and if you're in my presence and talking to me, you need to believe this is true too. That's not fair to yourself, that's not fair to your divine relationship, and that's not fair to whoever you're talking to. I believe that we should all be able to come into a space and glorify God in our way. I don't judge you, you don't judge me. Now, there's some rooms I won't be in. I respect what you do. I respect your relationship, but this isn't a room that I want to be in. Now, when you come up out of that room, holla at me. Because I'm not going to disassociate with someone because they believe in God differently than I do. Now, if the way that they believe, now I got some standards, right? Now, if the way that they believe in God is totally on the other side, because everything is on a spectrum. Those of you who are as the apple turns OGs, the pendulum. There's the infancy of something, and then there's the pervasion of something. So somewhere on that pendulum swing, there is a relationship with God that I'm comfortable with, and there's a relationship with God that I'm uncomfortable with. And for everyone who's swinging on that pendulum, it's somewhere in there. And there's a space on that pendulum swing that I'm not comfortable with. And I'm not going to write you off unless you on some real crazy stuff that I can't even associate with. But I'm also not going to move in ignorance. I'm going to educate myself. Because even the level of relationship with God that we accept present day is a level of relationship with God I was told was not relationship with God. So we have to understand that every generation's definition of relationship with God evolves with the generation, because the generation wants to move. Ooh, this is why those people are so, no, the old way. Because it is true, every generation rewrites the rules so that they can be okay with their sin. Because I'm asking myself, is this a good or a bad thing? We have to understand that which we have historically identified as sin isn't sin. I saw someone, I don't know if he was for or against God, but he was talking about how in the Bible, God killed over so many people, millions of people, and Satan didn't kill one. I'm not that far in the Bible. I keep telling myself I need to read. I love this book, so I don't perceive myself quitting reading it, but I haven't been reading lately. I'm on 2 Kings. This is a good book. This ain't only the good book, this a good book. So I don't remember what I was talking about. I had a really full day. I started the day, my friend Ree on here sent me a link to her live, and I was laying in the bed and I was like, let me hop on Ree's live. I usually don't hop on people's lives because I just don't consume anything but myself. That's all I consume. I read my writing. I watch my videos. Now, I don't rewatch my videos. Once I'm done with it, I rarely go back. Like right now, I'm moving all my videos from TikTok over to YouTube as the apple turns. So those of you who are, starting on your journey or somewhere just now discovering me, and you're like, okay, I don't know what she's talking about, but I know I could probably figure it out. Go back in my content and go back in my content, and that's where you'll be able to pick up what I'm talking about. And then as you study, you don't watch my videos, you study my videos. So get your pen and paper. And as you study my videos, then you'll start elevating to where I'm at. And you get on here and you ask some questions, you book a coaching session, and we start doing that work. If you're local in Arizona, hop into a sister circle. These are all live healing events, opportunities to heal yourself individually, collectively, on the phone, pick up a book. Like, I'm putting this information out there for y'all to consume every which way you prefer. If you don't read but you watch videos, I got you. If you don't watch videos but you read, I got you. If, that's about it. Energetically, those of you who move in energy, I got you. So every way that you can consume something, I provide that for you so that your preferred consumption method can be utilized. Because, Lord, I don't want to have to read a book, but the only way I can access this information is through a book. Man, I really can't pay attention with these videos because I'm programmed to only look for silly stuff in videos. So I know she's teaching, I know she's spitting game, but I'm programmed to read my information. So boom, there goes your book. So there's these different ways that you can access this information, but the imperative piece is that you access this information. And I am in full-on teacher mode. And I'm teaching life. I am helping us figure this life out as I figure my life out. And I have been actively figuring my life out since 2013. I've been sharing my life with the world. But since I was 15, and my then friend said, I'm the only person that likes you. Nobody likes you. And I was like, well, why doesn't anybody like me? And so I started figuring out, why don't people like me? And as I got feedback through either verbal feedback or me actually paying attention to the feedback I'm getting from people, even if it's being delivered like this, I'm still paying attention. The delivery system, what's the message? And I picked up those messages and I was like, okay. And I continuously refining process. I refined myself, yes. And, you know, I became the person that you see before you. The person I was before was self-loathing. I can't even tell you how many men I've been with because I stopped counting at 3. That's how many baby daddies I got. That's how many men I've been with. But, you know, I come from a place of, you know, just putting a pasty over my nipples. I don't know if I could say that word. You know, just putting a little patch over my snatch. You know, because I was on my look at me. Not because I'm comfortable. I am comfortable. That's what I told myself. But the circumstances that I was expressing my comfortability was definitely on some look at me. And being able to turn ahead was far more important than me being comfortable. Because I found myself in some pretty uncomfortable spaces. But you know, I remember when I first started, I told some of my stories. And I've come into a space of discretion. So when I tell a story, I slowly am removing the details. One, I'm speaking from a space of ambiguity, because if I'm ambiguous in the messages that I deliver, more people can relate to it. But if I say specifics, then there's other people who are going to be like, oh, and they're immediately going to turn off, which in the past I would have said, hey, this message ain't for you. But Spirit said we really don't have time to filter through who the message is and is not for. We must deliver the message. So I have to continue refining my verbal transmission to use as little inflammatory language as possible. So you'll see me continuously refine down. I told a story about my husband, and he was in the room when I told the story. Later on, he said, what, you gonna tell the people about such and such? And I was like, I already told the people about such and such, and you were in the room when I did it. But I did it at such a high level that I was able to tell the story, and even the person the story was about didn't know I was telling the story. So that is the level of ambiguity that I am going to... Caden! That is the level. Hey, Ree. Hey. That is the level of ambiguity that I'm going to begin to move in. I just want you to stop making all that noise, okay? Thank you, dear. All right. So I got on here. I've had a really full day. Somebody asked me a question, and I made a parallel to the question. I'm trying to think what question sparked this video. I got it down to the person. I'm trying to think of what she said. We were talking about comfort. I can't remember why, and I'm going to not stress myself out as to figure out why. Because Spirit just dropped in another message for me. People pleasers. I had a meeting with a client today. Yes, she has clients. Ree, you were a client, but now you're my friend. So I need to stop befriending my clients. Then I can still see you as a client, but now you're my friend, and we just be talking. But, you know, so, not paid yet, though. But Spirit said, I'm not out here to nickel and dime people. I'm out here to get this free training. Someone willing, especially a black woman, willing to sit down and allow me to teach her another way of thinking, because that's all I'm doing. I'm not telling her she's wrong. I'm telling you, here's another way. Sis. I done figured out another way to think. Let me teach you. Like, that should be the biggest honor point, that another Black woman done found some groundbreaking stuff, because this is groundbreaking. The way that I think is groundbreaking. The way that I think is going to change the world. But as long as people reject this information and keep it to themselves and wait to be entertained by this information, I'm entertaining as fuck. But the people who are waiting for the song and dance, you are delaying the transmission of this information. You don't want to be on the back end of the trend. This is the trend. Understand what everybody is saying right now. I was saying last year, go check my content. And the stuff that I'm saying right now, they'll be saying 6, 9, 10 months from now. They'll be talking about legacy. They'll be talking about ancestry. They'll be talking about all the stuff that I'm talking about. I can't list nothing because you're like, oh no, I heard someone talk about that. Yeah, God delivers messages to everybody that is in the frequency to receive it. So you may have heard it, and I bet you those people are in obscurity too. Because for some reason, the loud, that gets pushed. But the motherfuckers out here really teaching y'all some stuff, they in obscurity. Even if they are getting a little notoriety, because I know you guys are like, oh, look at your account. Guess what? Even with that little notoriety, that's still not enough compared to what this type of content deserves. We are literally saving ourselves over here. We are literally healing ourselves over here. We are doing the motherfucking work. And it's not being done. And I understand that I am just now in the space and I receive it to tell you that I am a teacher. Those of you who like credentials, I am a master's degree teacher. Yeah, Spirit was just like, this is another thing that you're just now telling your community. Like, when I told you guys I was an artist and an author, you guys were like, hold on, you're just now telling us this? Yes, I'm everything. I do everything. I'm a Jackson of all trades. You know, but yes, I'm a teacher. So anytime you sit in front of one of my videos, I don't care if I'm being silly or not. If I'm being silly, I'm teaching you how not to take yourself seriously. No matter what I do, I'm teaching you something. No matter what you experience, it should be teaching you something. You are taking 1 second of your life for granted if you're not learning from it. How much of your life are you willing to take for granted? Me, myself, I don't have time to waste. Therefore, I'm not taking any of it for granted. Which means every moment I have an opportunity. We have to understand we have a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. And I know the science that I be sciencing is not the science in the books, but you're going to get this lesson or not. We have a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere, which means if we have essentially two brains within our encasement, because just because this is the encasement does not mean that we only have one brain. Who gonna tell me different? So we have access to two brains, which means we have access to two separate thought frequencies. And within those two separate thought frequencies, we could think of different things at the same time. And I don't remember the point because it was so fucking brilliant. Why do we have two brains, Lonnie? That was so beautiful. God dang it. I be spitting some hot fucking fire. Where the hell did I pull two brains out the goddamn hat? Man, I just be pulling shit out. That was beautiful, though. You were coming to a really good point. I know that you were. I know that you were. You see how I could talk to myself because I have two brains? You're not crazy. You're literally analyzing yourself from your logical and your creative space, your masculine and your feminine. You're literally talking to yourself and carrying yourself through life. But if you're tricked into thinking you only have one way of thinking, one mind, you've already set yourself at a deficit. If we want to go spiritual, now we're talking about the spirit and the soul, the flesh and the soul. So no matter how we look at it, we're duality. Take these socks off so I don't put a dog in my bed. We're duality, no matter how you look at it. And it's for us to align so that they move in one accord, because a house divided is going to fall. If you are constantly bickering within yourself, how can you progress forward? But in that alignment, it's also for us to at least be in a space to question ourselves, because it is within that questioning of self that we're willing to challenge our own thinking and grow ourselves to our highest potential. Because if we're not even willing to challenge our thinking, which was thinking that was handed to us, so we're never going to grow. And then we're so prideful because we align our thinking with our identity that we refuse to truly receive, which is a very dangerous space right now, because it's a beautiful space because we're finally willing to say we need help. But it's a dangerous space because no one knows how to do it. You think just because something becomes loud enough that you can hear it, you suddenly know how to do it. There is a portion of our population, myself included, who they just needed that missing piece. And so when that missing piece pops in, they're like, oh, okay, boom. Now I'm on. I have been trying to be a better mother for years. I literally was like, I need to be a better mom. I need to be a better mom. I'm publishing my journals now. So right now I'm talking about, I'm splitting time between my 4 children because I need to spend individual time with each of them. I knew to do it. That died on the vine. I spent time with Angel and that was it. I didn't spend time with Bailey, or I can say Bailey because that was Bailey at that time. It's important for me to acknowledge who Bailey was and who Adoy is, because there was a space that present day Adoy moved like Bailey. And only those of you who have moved into a space, one, of energeticness, but also into a space of assuming a new identity, you understand when I was in that energetic vibration, I moved like this. And now that I'm in another energetic vibration, I move like this. I am Lonnie, but I'm no longer mom. I'm queen mother. I feel that in my soul. And I may just move into queen, but I kind of have a bias against that identity, so I can't do it. What's queen in another language? I'm going to figure out what queen is in another language. And I may change my name, because Lonnie's been through some stuff. Lonnie's done some things. She hasn't lived the life of my former identity, but am I still Lonnie? And I know to a certain demographic that sounds weird. But those of us who truly understand what a rebranding is, I'm not her. Like, y'all had the hardest time receiving that Prince became a symbol. A whole nother human being's identity bothered you so much. Some of y'all still, rebranding. Some of you guys still call love Puff Daddy. So we lock into a person's identity with the stage in your life that they made impact. I have people in my friend circle on social media who have been in my circle for years. But it is at that impact point that I begin to know who they are. And our history begins from there. So there's a couple ways we could take that. But in intimate relationships, you have to stop getting upset with your spouses, your children, your friends, whoever, for not remembering certain aspects of your personal history. Because for one, you do not remember every aspect of their personal history, regardless of relation. But also, you may have shared this information, but at the time, regardless of the conversation had around it, it did not have an impact point to where this is a piece of information that I will carry at the front of my brain in relation to this person forever. My best friend went to the same school that my daughter ended up going to. And when I enrolled my daughter in this particular school, my friend was like, oh, I went there. And I was like, okay, cool. It was a cool little talking point, right? And it was relevant at the time that it was relevant. Last weekend, I was telling a story, and I was like, yeah, she ran into the kid from such and such. And she was like, oh, I went to such and such. Oh, no. I said she ran into the kid from such and such. You remember such and such, right? And my friend was like, yeah, I went there. And I was like, my God, you did. Why don't I know that? Because I knew that. It's because that particular piece of information stayed relevant for the time that it was relevant. And it may stay relevant for the time that it's relevant now, but now that I know that that is an important piece of history within my friend's life as well as my life, so that talking point can come up again. If there's no anchor point or any perceived relevance in the immediate future, or not the immediate future, but in the moment that the information is coming up, and we're web thinkers, right? We're gritting everything together, and we could say, okay, this particular school is relevant in my daughter's life. It's relevant in my friend's life. So now it is relevant in both of our lives. So it could potentially come up again. So this is something that I want to remember, because we don't forget how to speak. We don't forget how to eat. We don't forget how to do all the different things. We don't forget our attitude and our energy throwing around. We don't forget how to do none of that. But we forget these little pieces of information, and I think we should make some effort, especially when we're working to become better friends to each other, to remember the relevant information that potentially will come back up simply because you too. Me too, sis. So, that was a tangent. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. I've had a great day today. I've just been teaching and healing and helping people all day. That's all I want to do. And I know I believe I shared on a live before, me and my friend, I was saying, when I hear energy workers or healers say they're exhausted after they're done, I'm like, I'm fucking fired up. Like, I can heal 24 hours a day, like what we need or what you need. I got you. Ask your question, donations. So I can heal in my sleep. I do. I am 1,000% sure that my soul exits my body when I go to sleep. And I have evidence, because I watch my sons return to their bodies every time they're sleeping in me. They'll just they'll both just start talking as soon as they start waking up. Like, they're mid-conversations. I'm like, where did this conversation come from? And it's happened to both of them on multiple occurrences. They start talking when they're starting to wake up. And I know, this is what people do. No, it's the returning to your body. It's the fluttering of the eyes, even though you're still asleep, but now your eyes are activating. It's you start talking, but who the heck are you talking to? And for me, because I'm hypersensitive, my allergies trigger every single morning. I used to hate it when I was, my kids were younger, and still, my kids know I'm awake because I start sneezing. Like, I be in here trying to sneeze undercover because them kids be listening. They be like, as soon as she sneezes, I'm hitting her door. And so I used to be trying to, but when I noticed my sons waking up, talking to themselves multiple times, both of them, and I made the parallel to, I'll be up under these covers like, whoo, and then as soon as consciousness returns to my body, I'm like, it is hot. Why am I so snuggled up? I am hot. And I kick the covers off. Every time we come coherent to our surroundings, we realize what's happening. And they say we're in REM or whatever, the deepest space of sleep. Like I said, my science ain't science, but it's mine and it makes sense, so I'm sharing it. And so I know they say REM or whatever. Ree, you've done sleep studies. It's REM or whatever, but you're gone. You're out of there. And Spirit just kind of made a parallel to where there's a difference between this and that, you're out of here. There's a difference in those energetic fields. You can tell when the energy has actually left the body. You can look at it. I don't know if you've ever seen, but you can look and see. But when you're asleep, the second thing that happens, besides my temperature returning back to my body, but I can smell everything in the room. Well, why couldn't I smell everything in the room when I was asleep? Why aren't I sneezing all day long? Because my senses, and I know there's a scientific explanation for this, but I'm not speaking science. I am talking about, if I can smell every single thing in the room that I've been in soon as I wake up, why can't I smell it now? Why isn't it triggering my allergies now? Why does it only trigger my allergies soon as I wake up? So that, coupled with watching my son start just randomly talking when they wake up, I was like, I'm 1,000% sure we astral travel. I don't know what I'm doing. I believe that I am healing myself. Hey, Druzy Drip, how you doing, friend? I believe that I am going and getting information from different dimensions. I believe that I'm actually resting. Like, my soul is active. So to think that my soul doesn't need rest. Do y'all think that our souls need rest, or they're tireless? Because this goes back to the conversation with my friend where energy healers feel exhausted after they heal. And I was like, I feel invigorated after I heal. And I was like, but it's not for my truth to be my truth and your truth to be your truth. It's for you to share your truth with me and me to share my truth with you, and for us to take whatever from each other's truth to grow our truths. So it's not for me to reject that there are some actual energy healers, because a lot of people out here who say they work in energy do not let everybody into those energies. I'm telling you. I done felt my soul try to get ripped up out of my body. There's a video back there. Go and check it out. That man was trying to get me. I was in there holding on to my soul like, Lord Jesus, just let me out of here. Whew, I made it out. Yes. But anyway, forgot my thought. It was good too. But I always go back to the original reason why I got on here. Is I had a full day and I met with the client, and it's not just a friend that I call a client, it's an actual client, so I feel good. Yeah, go team. But yeah, I finally found, and I don't want to speak this way because Adoy warned me against this yesterday on my live. How do I speak? I can't shrink myself anymore. So I will share with you, and you can write this down because this is a growth opportunity for you as well. I was going to say, let me write my sentence down as well. I finally found someone dot, dot, dot. You enter yours. Willing to let me help her. All right, so this is a lesson in turning something from pick me, shrink myself, low self-esteem, I'm just thankful to be in the room energy, okay? Because we're done shrinking ourselves. This is something that I came up with my friend and Adoy at the Sister Circle. If you're local, make sure you're attending the Sister Circle. If you're online, I am going to start doing Sister Circle virtually. So have an eye out for that. I'm going to start teaching classes. Let's go. We're in school. Y'all need to attend. So me putting myself out here, it may just be a sign of obedience and God is just calling me to just show up, and that's all I have to do. But I would love for you all to experience this opportunity while it's still available at the price point that it's available. Those of you who recognize what's happening, understand that $33 to access this, sitting on this live for free, is such a blessing. And that's not me talking big about myself. That is me saying, those of you who recognize what is happening right now, something like this is not going to be just sitting on live. To receive this, you're going to have to pay. When Ree said on her live earlier, I'm going to have a Netflix special. I'm going to be in theaters, and there's going to be thousands of people sitting in my word, and I'm going to be healing them and teaching them, and they're going to feel blessed. So it is for you to feel blessed right now because you are getting this for free. And if you're in the Phoenix area, you could sit in the room with this and ask your questions and have me sit down with you and map you out. That's what I did today. I can map you out and help you figure out everything, because that is what I do. I love it. I fucking love it. I love figuring people out so much that I started figuring other people out because I got bored figuring myself out. Okay, I could figure myself out while I figure you out. And now I realize that while I figure you out, I could figure myself out because you're a reflection. So every time I fix something in you, I fix something in myself because I'm not so full of myself that I won't admit that I need help too. And I understand that God's not wasting my time, your time. Nobody's time is getting wasted. So what that means is anything that comes out of your mouth is for you, period. It could be, we're going to answer our question in a second. It could be for you here, or it could be for you here. But somewhere in here, whatever is coming out of your mouth is for you. And it is for you to make heads or tails of it. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. All right, so we want to reword this sentence in a positive, uplifting way. Presently, this sentence, I'll stop moving it. Presently, this sentence is written in a way that would shrink myself. And I can justify why I would say it this way, but it's not for me to justify shrinking myself on any level. It is for me to recognize that I am shrinking myself, and how can I say this in a way that uplifts me? So presently, the sentence says, I finally found someone willing to let me help her. And so for me, that is like, my God, I am so excited that I finally found someone who allowed me to help her. You know, Ree was the first person to allow me to help her. And you see, Ree is still here today, and Ree is one of my favorite students. Ree is a teacher's pet, which means she brings me apples. There's no mistake my first tattoo was an apple. There's no mistake that my last name is Appleton. There's no mistake that I became a teacher. So anyway, I finally found someone willing to let me help her. Ree was my first one. And if you know black women, I sat at that table with that black woman today and I was like, oh, this is going to be a hard nut to crack. Sis knows it all. And then I hit her with the, hey sis, come here real quick. What's the difference between knowing and doing? Ooh, I got her. Boom. We know everything. So why ain't you doing it? That's why they pay me the big bucks. I finally found someone willing to let me help her. And so that is a space of gratitude. So if I'm trying to convey gratitude, what messages are we trying to convey with our message? So I finally found something, someone, I finally found whatever. What do we want to convey with this sentence? I want to convey gratitude. So you write down what you want to convey with your, because there is something magical between writing, speaking, and the brain. Speaking has its impact. Writing has a greater impact. I don't know the science, but I know when you write some shit down, some magic happens. Okay? You believe in magic, I do. Anyway, I'm trying to convey gratitude because I am thankful. I'm thankful because this is something that I've worked very, very hard to do. It's a numbers game, right? And I invited another young lady a couple weeks ago, but her trauma was big, so I get it. I even warned her before we got into it because she was rush hour, the T word, when she was 15. So I wouldn't say that would be too much for me to bite off, because it would be too much for me to bite off, because if she is looking to heal that trauma specifically, she's not going to understand how we have to address bedwetting at 6. You understand? What's the correlation between me being rush houred at 15 and my bedwetting at 6? And so regardless of the person's knowing that work is being done, because this is what Spirit told me earlier, because when I first got Reiki certified, I messed with someone's energy. And I won't say messed, but I released a lot of demons. I released a lot of energy in her. And I didn't know how to help her. And so she went through a space of elation where she was like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you, to a space of torment. Because as all of that lifted off of her, she was left with, what the fuck do I do? And I didn't know how to help her. And so after her, I was like, I'm not messing with nobody's energy body, especially after my experience. I was like, I'm not messing with nobody's energy body anymore. I believe in my methodology of healing. It's literally me asking questions that cause you to mess with your energy body. So I'm using my ability to manipulate energy to trigger you into manipulating your own energy. So I'm not going to tap in and send any intentions for you. Go use your bathroom.
Why do you love that bathroom?
Because just go now. Yeah, I don't mess with people's energy. I teach them how to mess with their own. Because if I mess with your energy, I don't know you. I don't know your capabilities. And we're proud women of color. So, yeah, I can handle it. No, you can't, buddy. No, you can't. Not at the level that I can unlock you. Because, you know, we're balls to the wall about everything. So when you come to someone like me for healing, you coming with what is the greatest thing that plagues me. And me, star student, star pupil, I'm like, okay, let's go. But to trigger all of that in the domino effect, because what my client said today was, she was like, if I figure this one thing out, I'm going to solve 10 other problems. I was like, you sure as heck are. Away from my phone, but I can hear you. All right, sis. As long as you double tapping that screen. I'm just playing. Well, not you, but yeah, everybody, if you like the live, let me know. But, yeah, I was talking to her today, and I wanted to talk about people pleasing, but I also want to finish this sentence. So let's finish this sentence really quickly, and then we'll talk about people pleasing. I finally found someone willing to let me help her. I want to convey gratitude and celebration. So the energy on it needs to be celebratory. Celebration. I gotta sing the words to hear the sounds. Gratitude, celebration, yeah, a winner spirit. Definitely I want to convey a winner spirit. Winner spirit. Boop, 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 boop. So if I want to convey gratitude, celebration, and a winner spirit, when I say this sentence, I finally found someone willing to let me help her, how would I rewrite that sentence? These are the type of questions they should have been asking us when we were in school. Instead of, how can we rewrite this? What that stupid ass sentence? Actually teach me how to change my speech pattern. Instead of speaking in lower vibrational pick-me energy, teach me how to speak life into myself and still hit the curriculum. Still hit the curriculum points, but teach me how to speak positively. If you want to teach me finances so I could actually balance my bank account, set up a budget, run a household. Teach me those finances. So don't sit here and say that school can't teach you life when life is the fucking points that they're pretending to teach you. Stop playing with it. All right, so gratitude, celebration, winning spirit. Let me see. The opportunity. So whatever your sentence is, you're going to want to identify the what you want to convey with your sentence and your speech. So as you speak, this is how you're processing. I've always spoken what I identify with the 5-second delay. So I'll speak, but I'll filter everything that comes out of my mouth. That's why sometimes when you hear me speak, you'll hear me start one word and then shift into another, because I'm constantly filtering through what comes out of my mouth. And so there's certain areas, like I've learned how to deliver harsh information. And she's come up twice now. Someone told me I got to work on my bedside manner because she told me something and I laughed, and I shouldn't have laughed at it, but I thought it was a joke. So I thought, and I was like, oh, that wasn't a joke, my bad. And so she told me I got to work on my bedside manner. But I have figured out, so thank you. This is the second lesson you taught me without knowing you were teaching me lessons. But I pay attention to everything because everything is a lesson. But something keeps... Okay, hold on. I have to get this off me because it keeps trying to interrupt. Okay. I had to make peace with something within my spirit because it kept, but. And I'm just like, no, it doesn't matter. It's not important. That's old energy. That's old thinking. Be okay with stopping yourself and healing yourself on the spot. I can't be a dancing monkey for you. I have to stop and honor myself. So if I'm delivering a message and spirit or self or whoever the heck is interjecting and saying, yo, hold on, I have to honor that. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. You better stop pulling those things down. Do you understand? You say okay, but do you understand? Because if Bailey tells me you pulled some more down, I like the way you said yes, good job. It's yes. Good job. If Bailey tells me you pull another one down, we're gonna have a problem, okay? So enjoy that one. Don't pull any more down. Do you understand?
Okay.
All right, go play. So we just have to make sure that we are delivering the message that we want to deliver. And we no longer live in the world of justification. We could all be justified, but justification ain't getting you what you want. It's getting you more what you don't want. Yo, I choose not to know how to spell. I'm no longer saying I can't spell. I choose not to learn how to spell. So when I show you on my board, if you see misspelled words and improper punctuations, that's a space for you to grow in, because you're missing an entire message because you're focused on my spelling, my handwriting, my whatever it is you're focused on. You're focused on everything else. You're watching a video and you're looking in the background like you are missing everything that's coming out of a person's mouth simply because you're focused on the background, but maybe the background's the lesson. Wherever your attention is drawn is the lesson, period. Gratitude, celebration, but even allowing your attention to be drawn in itself is the lesson. There's some, I can't live your life, so I really can't tell you where the lesson is. I could just tell you, here's a way you can learn something, here's a way you can learn something, here's a way you can learn something, here's another way you can learn something, here's another way you can learn something. Of all these different ways that we have conceptualized simply from me telling you what you can learn, now you match my energy. Don't be lazy and don't quit on yourself and say, well, this is what Lonnie said, so can I learn it from one of the points that Lonnie said? Or can you be like, well, damn, if she came up with 5, let me come up with 6. And because I came up with the most obvious 5 for myself, you can't go above me and go into the surface. You must go deeper than me, which means, dang, if she took the top 5, I got to come up with the 6 to the 10. Shit. What else? So now you are forced to dig deeper simply because I took the surface off the table. You don't get no options. No, I don't want your basic level thinking. Dig deeper. This is your life. What are you choosing? I can't live it for you. And that's what I told sis. I was just like, look, you're a student. I know you're a student. But are you capable of redefining yourself? Because as a black woman, as a woman of color, you have a certain level of pride point of who you are off top. We are bred to have a level of pride within self. Caden James. You are programmed to have a certain level of pride within yourself. And within that level of pride, to allow another black woman, because we're bred enemies, to allow another black, ooh, and I'm light skinned, ooh, you devil bitch. To allow another black woman to come into your space and tell you, hey, I have another idea, and be open to receive it. That's beautiful. And that's another way. That was a cute little sentence I was about to write, but whatever the fuck I just said was me conveying gratitude, was me being in celebration, and that was me demonstrating a winner spirit. And I said the exact same thing. So we have to understand that we can reach for. This is why we have to allow people to have a redo. And if you appreciate the information I'm sharing, please double tap the screen. That is how TikTok knows that this place is a vibe, and that's how I know that you vibing with me. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here talking to myself, and I'll be out when I'm bored. Or do you want me to keep going until I give you what you need? You're here for a reason, but it's on you. I want to deliver my message really quickly. I started this live. I'll deliver that message in a minute. I started this live because I was talking about my angel cards, and I was talking about my journey into my spiritual space and how my original spiritual space started with tarot and angel cards, crystals, pendulums. I never was crazy enough to use a Ouija board. That stuff, I was like, nah, I'm good. But I've tried some different things. Spiritual baths, herbs, all these different things. Psychic jumping, trying to see the future and all these different things. And so, that was just me exploring. And what Spirit told me earlier was, yes, you're right to break away from religious structure, because religious structure in itself is an encasement. And so it was designed to libel in, you have detected, All right, so religious structure was designed to imprison the soul, imprison the mind, imprison the everything. And it actually was used to imprison and to justify slavery. In that, when you finally are shaken awake enough to step away from religious structure, whatever is utilized as that for you. For me, it was the man of God who disappointed me and was like, if a person who represents God told me this certain thing and he fell short then, but because at that time I affiliated the man of God with God. I affiliated the church. Affiliation. Yes, I affiliated the church with God. And so when I walked away from the church and the man of God, I walked away from God. But in that, I was just like, I was at least smart enough to know, not saying smart, aware enough, that's a better word. I was at least aware enough to know that there's Islam, there's Buddhism, there's Taoism, there's Kabbalahism, I don't know. There's all these different ways to align with God. So, I'm not so married in, thank you for the love, y'all. I'm not so married in the idea that there is only one pathway to God. Like, I never was a super Christian. The C word. I never was a super C word. I was adjacent. And so when the opportunity to seek God through other means presented itself because of disappointment associated with the church, I was open to it. Now, I understand this will be different for someone who is birthed and grown into a particular indoctrination, because understand, whatever you were brought into, depending on how stringent it was, it's an indoctrination. And so it's not that you are restructuring and relearning who God is necessarily. God has been God. Your understanding of God needs to be revamped. And so it's not that God is doing anything differently than God has ever done. It is that you are loosing indoctrination. And so the way that I loosed indoctrination was to first seek other forms of organized religion. Okay, I'm not this anymore, but I love, from what I know, topical. I read Islam for Dummies, so I did my research. But, topically, what I know of Islam, I love the structure. They pray to the east a certain number of times a day. They eat a certain way. They got schools. They got a whole structure going where they are taking care. I don't know. I'll do air quotes, because I don't know what's going on. But from the outside looking in, they're taking care of their people. They're creating a system of organization from the outside looking in, which is something that I don't see within the religion that I no longer affiliated with. Sometimes you pray. What's prayer? Sometimes you go to church. Yeah, I ain't going to church. Sometimes you cuss. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you leave the parking lot blasting little Uzi Vert. Sometimes. And I really didn't like the hypocrisy of the affiliation, the largely widespread hypocrisy of the religion that I was affiliated with. And so I sought structure initially. And then, I like the free flowiness of Buddhism. I was like, yeah, I can really get to this. God is a tree. God is everything. Yo, they thought I was so crazy when I would go around talking about God is everything. God is that table. Like, I got argued down. God is everything. Like, if God created everything, when does God stop ceasing being everything? Like, I'm my kids. Who gonna tell me I'm not? So when does God cease being anything except for the fact that you don't recognize God? And that's some growth opportunity for you. So I did all that. And then I went into, I guess, psychics. I was addicted to psychics for a while. And all the psychic racket is, and I want to say the relationship industry feeds into the psychic industry. Because all people ever ask psychics, myself included, is, why doesn't he want me? When is he going to call? I wonder if men go to psychics, what do they ask? Do they ask, when is she gonna call? How come so-and-so doesn't like me? I wonder what, they probably ask about money. Men probably ask about money. Women probably ask about love. That should tell us something. That's some research to do. Why are we so focused on love? Well, because we're nurturers. We want to raise something. We want to feed into something. When the first thing that we need to nurture and feed into is ourselves. Because 99 times out of 10 in this present generation, nobody raised us the way that we should be raised. There might be a 1% demographic out there, but I have yet to meet somebody who I can't teach. Which means I believe that you can know everything. I do believe it's possible to heal past the need to heal. I believe that there is a level of enlightenment that we can reach, that we no longer experience the BS that people experience here in this physical plane. And I believe that we can reach that on this physical plane. And I believe that's so because a lot of the things that I previously struggled with just a short year ago, I no longer struggle with. Things that I struggled with a week ago, I no longer struggle with. So as long as I keep identifying areas of improvement for myself and making an intentional effort to heal that which I have identified, boom, it's a done deal. And I believe that I will reach a point where, because my healing process used to be years. Remember, I told you in the beginning, I used to want to be a good mother. It took me until 2023 to figure out how to be a good mother. And actually become a great mother. A mother so well that I teach other mothers how to mother. And so my learning curve used to be years. Now my learning curve is seconds. As soon as I identify a problem, Spirit done already dropped in a solution. And if a solution hasn't been dropped in while I'm running my mouth, somewhere in there, a solution is being drawn. Based off of all the information, I don't think it was you I was talking to. I was talking to one of my friends and she was like, I don't like living in the past. I was like, that's because they taught us the pervasive way of living in the past. The past is a tool. A past is something that we can use to fuel us forward. A past can help us unlock all the treachery and trauma that we carry today. I don't know how many keys are in the past. The keys are in your immediate past, which means it's 7:04 right now. A key to unlock me could be in 7:03. That's the past I'm talking about. So we must pay attention to what we're paying attention to in the past, because the past will help us figure out our present. And because we're not trying to figure out the present, as soon as we see what's happening, we're like, do, 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 boom, this is what's happening. Now we can create our future intentionally. Sleep is falling upon me, friend. Enjoy your live as always. Awesome. I thank you for being here, friend. Have a wonderful evening. And as always, I will repost on LoneeAppleton Live. So there you go. And so, yeah. So that's how we create futures, by picking up that which we were given in the recent past. But people pleasing, let me give you this because I want to watch K-dramas. I'm bored now. But people pleasing, this young lady that I spoke to today, she said that she was the youngest of multiple children. And in order to get attention from people, she had to do what they wanted. So now she is a grown woman who is in a relationship who, in her mind, she says, this is what I want to experience in my most intimate relationship. I may not be experiencing this in all my other relationships because that's family, that's friends. You know, we let these people abuse us. I'm not sure why, but you know, we let these people abuse us, but the one person I expect not to abuse me is the person that actually says they love me. You know, my spouse. So now we have these expectations of our spouses. But in that expectation of our spouses, not once in our lives, from childhood to present, have we actually given to someone and they gave back into the same capacity that we give. In theory, that is what we desire in our perfect relationship, right? When we're creating our perfect spouse, they do all the things that we do, they reciprocate. Even though not once in our real life have we met someone who reciprocates. Now, there is someone who will do for us, but chances are we don't want to do for them. It is very rare to align with someone at an energetic level. I experience it all the time now, or I don't deal with you. I have someone who wanted to rekindle a friendship with me. I overstepped their unstated boundary. Like, you're holding me to task for a boundary I didn't even know about, and you won't even give me grace to be like, yo, you crossed the boundary. And I literally said, you don't have to worry about me ever talking to you like this again. I will be that superficial friend that you say you need. You know, I will save this for someone who can receive this and use this, because at this point, this is casting my wisdom and my pearls among swine. And I'm not going to do that. So I will be your, girl, yeah, if that's what you need, I'll be her. But I bumped up against an unspoken boundary, and now you completely switched up from me when a week ago we were creating an entirely new friendship contract which said this is what we're going to do. But the first attempt at trying to do this, because there's no flexibility there, I bump up against you, and now you have what you probably identify as boundaries, but is truly inflexibility, because I apologize and I changed my ways. You ain't got to worry about seeing her again. But the thing is, this person was a really good friend of mine. This was a lifelong friend of mine. But this friend cannot reciprocate my energy, in the respect that on 3 separate occasions, I tried to engage with this person simply to see if the energy was the same, even though Spirit told me the moment we broke, we broke. But this is a lifelong friend, so now we are taking, this is time, energy, whatever, versus this motherfucker ain't moving right. But I'm going to give them a chance because of the longevity and all these different things. And so on 3 separate occasions, I reached into this person's space on our regular, hey girl, type energy. And she like egged me. And I was like, yo, I'm not the one to be egged. Like, you don't play me like that. Those days of allowing someone to treat me any kind of way, like, I know who the fuck I am. So, but we got this. And one of our conversations said that you desire a relationship with me. And I actually desire a relationship with you. Not what we used to have. I desire actual relationship with you. And it can look however you're comfortable. We ain't got to do it my way. Ever. The only person that got to do it my way is my family that I live with, because I need to be able to be seen and express myself and my authenticity at least in my home. This is why I go live. This is why I have videos, because now I can go and talk to the computer, I could talk to the camera and just run my mouth, whether there's somebody there or not. I could just get this up off of me and be authentic, and then I don't have to resent my family because they really don't want to hear all this. It's just long-winded. I am. And so people pleasing. We just have to make sure, one, we're not holding the people that we have chosen to surround ourselves with unrealistic expectations. Because the way that we want people to treat us, we've never been treated this way before. So how do I treat someone in order to be treated this way? The way that you treat people has garnered the treatment that you've experienced thus far. Now we understand this is a combination of standards, low to no standards, all these different things that could be transpiring that are allowing you to be in the space of allowing someone to treat you how they choose to treat you, no matter how well you treat them. But you also have to understand, in your wellness treatment, even in their inability or ability to communicate and say, this is what I want, every man who sticks his inside of a vagina isn't there to stick his inside of a vagina. There is something bigger that is happening there for a lot of them, but they don't know how to articulate it. That's why they jump from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman, because they are seeking something. It is not simply to put their in a hole. There's something more there, but they don't know how to articulate it. So they're just like more sex, more. They don't have the language. So we can't give them more of what they want because they can't articulate it. And if it's more of my body you want, but you're not giving me what I want, then we can't give each other what we want. Like, no. But people pleasing. Just make sure if it's an underdeveloped muscle, i.e., you've never gotten what you want out of life. You don't even give your ass what you want. You fail yourself every chance you allow. You don't show up the way you need to show up for yourself. So you have trained yourself not to show up for yourself, and you've trained yourself not to have other people to show up for you. So the key is, and we're just going to give the answer to the test. The key is that you start showing up for yourself in all areas that you identify. We start paying attention to ourselves. Paying attention is an action. We're actually watching ourselves and seeing what the fuck is going on. And as we watch ourselves, we say, oh, I don't like that. Ooh, okay, go off. Are you supposed to have that? No. But anyway, so we're paying attention to ourselves. And so now we can, those things, and we don't have to, we're newbies. We're newbies. Do not overstimulate yourself. Find one thing that you do to focus on. I'm a people pleaser. That's too broad a topic. But once you go to God and you say, I want to people please, because we're speaking in the positive, right? We're speaking in the positive. I want to people please in a way that is most beneficial to self and others. Put self first, because most of us are self second. Others and self. No, we need to be self and others. I need to enjoy, because I don't have a problem showing up for other people. I have a problem showing up for other people who don't show up for me. And so, back to the friend, I'm done with her. She had 3 opportunities to show up for me, and she egged me. And I'm a dope-ass human. You don't ig me. And she did it 3 times. She got 3 times more chances than most people get with me. I got a real... When I come in, I'm like this to people. But you only got 1 time to... Whoop. Oh, she responded wrong. You get treated like everybody else. And treated like everybody else is cool. I'll still feed into you, but you can have access to this. But nah. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And mind my business. You only got 1 chance to make me feel like I'm bothering you. But yeah. Solving people pleasing. Identify that you are a people pleaser and set the intentions to please people in a way that is healthy and beneficial to you and others. So now you are putting the intentions into the universe, praying to God, however you move, vibrationally matching to become a healthy expression of people pleasing, because I'm a people pleaser as well. But a healthy expression of people pleasing, which means it is not self-sacrificing. You are, because collective, we are the collective. Together we stand, divided we fall. So we must be collective conscious. But in being collective conscious, we must be self-aware. So when you are looking about, okay, I want to go into a relationship and this is how I deserve to be treated. Okay, well, how is a person like myself, we'll get there. How is a person like myself, in order to get treated this way, what is the treatment that I need to give? And in that, it's not, okay, I need to hold the door or I need to buy flowers, but then you get with someone and she's like, I don't care if you buy me flowers. I don't like flowers, but you're like, this is what it takes. She communicated to you, this is not what it is, but I bet you every time she told you she didn't, I bet you she also told you she does. So I don't like flowers, but I like this. Let's make sure we spend more time talking about what we do want versus what we don't want. So, babe, I don't really value flowers. I'd rather see them live their life out instead of dying in my kitchen. You know, but what I do like is I like to eat. A bitch like king crab legs. Like, can we speak that love language? You know, so we communicate what we want, but we don't listen. So it's in that listening that your woman will become satisfied. The reason why your woman isn't touching you, the reason why your woman isn't fucking you, the reason why she isn't sucking you is because she's not satisfied, even though you're doing all the things. You're not doing what she's specifically asking. Women are very specific. This is what I want. I don't mind you holding my, but I don't want you rubbing it. Don't squeeze my, no, I don't want that. Just hold your hand there. As long as you just hold your hand, that's my happy medium. But you do any of those other things, now I got a problem. So a woman will be specific. I'll let you grab it, okay? Don't caress it, because now you're getting into annoying territory. So you're pleased, I'm allowing, but I'm allowing, why? Because you're also allowing me to move in my love language, my way of showing you that I care for you, but also we're taking each other's feedback and altering all those different things. So we just have to be willing to change and become, and it all starts with self. You change, you become. And once you change and become, you'll start energetically pulling yourself into which you've been praying for. You prayed to God for certain things, and because you're knowing, ooh, pop your shit. Because you're knowing of these things are surface. What is a good man? You ain't ever experienced one, so anybody could come in and pretend to be a good man. You know, what is a good father? Well, I ain't never seen a good father except for on TV. Well, shit, that nigga seen a good father on TV too, so he knows how to act like a good father. But what is the character? What is the makeup? They don't know, and neither do you, and that's how you're getting fooled. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I done popped my shit. These are all being reposted on LoneeAppleton Live on YouTube. If you're not familiar with the community, get familiar with the community. I'm LoneeAppleton, and you can catch all of my content on As the Apple Turns across all social medias, or you can catch me on Facebook if you're a reader. I'm a writer. On Facebook, Lonnie Appleton. You could pick up my books. You could pick up my merch. You could pick up my coaching services. You could just check me out at LoneeLifestyle.com. So you guys have a good evening. And if you ain't a part of the community, become a part of the community, because we're healing intentionally and we're saying fuck you to the third dimension. Y'all have a good one.